All right, so a couple weeks ago, we watched a video of Laura Fry. She has another video out that came out about a week ago, but we were off for about 10 days. Came out 2 days after I was done. We're going to watch this video. It's called The Game Industry Elephant. Right, so that's what we're going to watch here. And all the descriptions are in the down below. Make sure you go check out the channel. She's blown up. I think she had 30,000 subscribers, and now she's at 44. So just in 10 days, 10,000, 14,000, something like that. Last time we saw her. Making good content. So let's check this out.
When I started playing video games, it was a fun pastime where you connected with family and friends. Game developers were passionate. They put their heart and soul into their games because they knew if they could...
That's what I always say. Make a game, sell a game. And what that make a game part means is put your heart and soul, whatever you want to put in the game. Doesn't matter if it's political, doesn't matter what it is. Know what you want to make, put yourself behind it, and then sell that game.
Land a hit, they could do it again. Sometimes this is called the pinball motivation. Opinions about games were freely shared and everyone enjoyed the discussion. After all, it's just games. Sadly, this is not the world we live in today.
Nope.
Gaming is surrounded by division and acrimony. Sharing your opinions about your gaming preferences has become a flashpoint. So how did we get here? How did a fun hobby get surrounded by so much anger?
Well, here, same exact thing, right? Games are games, but then games become money, okay? Baseball games, football games, soccer games, hockey games, right? Sports, in a time, used to be just for fun. Just a sports game. What, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? But then sports became a multi-million-dollar business. And then sports wasn't sports anymore. Sports was a cutthroat industry. Okay, here we are. Video games is that next thing, right? Video games, movies. It's just movies. It's just television. It's just video games.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I love making games. I love game developers. I love playing games. I want the industry to thrive. And in some ways, the industry is okay. There are many games that are doing just fine. But as many of you have pointed out, we also have a culture war raging around gaming, and it's destroying some of our favorite franchises and studios.
Path of Exile 2 is already one of the most popular Steam games ever.
There are several reasons we are here today, and like many things, what you'll find at the heart is a series of small steps by good people with a few bad actors mixed in. If you look back in gaming history, you will find that controversial content is not new.
No. Controversial content has always been there, right? Political stuff has always been in video games. It's just that the barometer, the temperature in video games in the world is completely different now, right? Now we have the DEI type of thing. That's always been in games, right? The inclusiveness and stuff like that, it's always been in. Political stuff has always been in video games. It's just when you get down on your knees and go on the grass, you're going to find the problems if you're looking for them.
Games have always had strong narratives.
Yep.
This is because games start as ideas that are eventually translated into digital form. Teams start by gathering reference material from the world around them to help define what is in their mind.
Here's Edge. Man, I haven't played that game in a long time. That was a cool game. That was an interesting game. First-person parkour game. It was actually pretty cool.
They pull from the lore of a franchise, sometimes history, current events, movies, other games.
This game actually changed a lot of what's happening in the video game industry today. When you do the puzzles like Uncharted and stuff like that, where they made it where like you could do the runs with this because of the different colors, and you knew where the jump was. And now when you go in a game, they have this little, oh, I see the yellow, I see the lines, I see whatever. That's the path you have to take.
Games are creative dialogue on what has been and what might be, and reference material has a narrative. It has a perspective. It's easy to see this if you read a history book, because you will hear wildly different opinions on what happened based on where you grew up. Game developers naturally end up
Good Papa says, 30, have you been seeing the Sony guy who've been blowing up on X and YouTube because of his opinions? Oh, you're talking about the, was he the Australian guy or Austrian guy who his wife bought him a Xbox and now he likes it? Talk about that guy, Good Papa?
Exploring themes and ideas based on what inspires them, and I would argue that's a good thing. Developers should be exploring and innovating, but they need to understand where they are. They need to understand their risk. Because even though strong narratives in games hasn't changed, what appeals to the broadest audience possible has narrowed.
Now, I want to listen to that again. I want to listen to that again because as a business, right? We talked about this. We used food analogies. We used a bunch of stuff before, right? Like if you're trying to get the broadest audience into your baseball stadium, right? You're a baseball owner. You want people in your park. You can't have high ticket prices, right? Because you're getting a small niche. You want the broadest audience possible, so you lower your ticket prices, right? You get those people in, okay? That's what you're looking for in like sports. In the food industry, like a donut shop, okay? A donut shop, they make a bunch of different types of donuts, but everyone's coming there for like the glaze, the chocolate glaze, the regular glazed donuts, right? That's what they make the most of, right? And then they put the specialty ones in there because if they just made the specialty ones, they wouldn't have that much business because people wouldn't like them, okay? With gaming, you're looking for a specific person to play your game. Dark Souls, FromSoft, had specific people in mind when they were looking for games, but then they wanted to make more money. So then they made a broader audience, and the broader audience was the game that they made for Elden Ring. And Elden Ring blew up 5 times of any of their other sales because of that. Okay?
It's easy to alienate large groups of people if expectations aren't met. And this is what I think happened with Dragon Age. They made an expensive game that didn't appeal to a large part of their current fan base.
Now, that's a mistake, okay, I think, that she's bringing up, is because I think she's 100% correct here. They decided, and as I said in the very beginning of this video, I said, make a game, sell a game. Whatever you want to make that game, make that game. But don't look back at us and be like, well, this game didn't sell because of you. No. It didn't sell because of you, the developer. You decided that you wanted a specific type of person to bring into your game. And the rest of the people that played all your other Dragon Age games, you wanted to shun those people out because of your choices. Got to stand by you, right? It's lonely on the hill when you want to die on the hill alone, as Lucas said earlier, right? He likes the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, right? It's a good movie. And Eclipse said, you die on that hill alone, okay? But if that's what you like, then stay true to what you are. And if the developers came out and like, I don't know why this failed. It failed because you guys are bigots or misogynistic. Nope, that's not why it failed. You chose to make this game a specific group of people, and it didn't work out. That was your choice. You made a game. You sold a game. The game wasn't broke. The game wasn't buggy. The game wasn't any shape like that, right? It was just what you wanted to make, and it didn't succeed. You should be proud of that. You should be proud that you made the game that you wanted to make, but it didn't succeed. And that's just the risk that you're going to take with anything that you do in life.
They made an expensive game that didn't appeal to a large part of their current fan base. That means they lost sales, and now they have to go out and acquire new fans if they want to make their money back, or at least make enough money so that EA lets them make another game. For me, it's been interesting to watch this change in the industry. Game publishers used to put in extra effort to avoid offending people. They wanted to make games that would appeal to the broadest possible audience.
Of course they wanted to, because they wanted to make the most money as possible. And if you make it for a broader audience, more people would buy your game. More people buy your game, then you could make the game that you wanted to make next, or a sequel, right?
Audience. Microsoft, for example, was very risk averse. I remember when Terminal Reality was doing the second version of their game Fury Cubed, and they wanted to call it Hellbender. Well, marketing was upset. They were worried that putting the word hell in the name of a game next to the Microsoft logo was going to damage the brand.
Just as simple as that, right? Putting the word hell next to it, like, people think we're devil worshippers or something. You know what I mean? Like, exactly it. And it still works to this day. Anytime you put something behind your name, people are like, it usually doesn't do well, right? Right? It's just true, right?
And so that team.
And I've dealt with this in the film industry as well. People don't like certain names or certain things because, how do I put this? Most people don't even look at what she's saying, right? The broader audience doesn't look at it and go, "Oh, there's hell? I can't buy that game because it's got hell in it," right? Most people don't look at that, right? But Microsoft wants to go out to the broadest audience. It's almost like when you're a kid and the joke of an adult says something, you don't think of it in a dirty mind because you don't know it yet. You know what I mean? Like you don't have that dirty mind process because you don't know that yet. But once you know it as an adult and someone says something, okay, the first thing that goes to your mind is some dirty joke or some dirty thing. You're like, because that's your adult mind. Okay. That's exactly what it is here. Most of these people that have played video games wouldn't even blink an eye. Okay. Wouldn't even blink an eye. But the adults in the room are like, yeah, no, you can't say hell. Can't say hell. That's going to offend some people.
Had to go to Bill Gates in order to get approval. I experienced this caution personally when I was producing the game Fighter Ace. I was asked to demo it at a Microsoft shareholders meeting. During rehearsal, I said that I was going to jump in the game and shoot down some people. Everyone freaked out.
Because you were going to shoot down some people. Even though in context, you're talking about just the video game, right? Everyone's like, oh, the suits are like, you can't. You're not actually going to shoot people.
Executives thought that language was too edgy for Microsoft shareholders, and instead they asked me to say I was shooting at targets. Then there was that time we were in the final days of making Deadly Tide and someone noticed there was a problem. You see, if you slow this down and you look closely, you'll find that New Zealand was just left off the world map. Okay. Of course, Microsoft New Zealand noticed and asked us to fix the problem. But after a lengthy discussion, the team decided to pass. They didn't think people would notice, and if they did...
Now, this happens in the movie industry a lot as well, right? Something happens, and I can bring up a point of, in Game of Thrones, I think it was like the last season, there was that coffee mug on the set that someone noticed, okay? Now, obviously, back in the day when there wasn't social media, if something happened like that on Game of Thrones or a movie set where if a coffee mug or something was in the background, if someone noticed it, that was it. It was like, hey, did you see that? Like think about this for a second. You're watching it on TV. There's no DVR. There's no record, pause, anything like that. It's just you're watching it, and 10 people are watching in the same room, but one person notices a coffee mug. Did you see that? There was a coffee mug on the thing. You'd be like, coffee mug? And you couldn't rewind to watch it. You would have to watch it again and then get to that point and then go, see, right? And then someone go, oh, wow, I can't believe that. And the small percentage of people noticing it, nothing, okay? But now, in this day and age with social media and pausing and all the stuff, I mean, I could pause frame by frame, okay? Now everyone knows. Because if that one person sees it, they take a screenshot of it, they make a post and go, hey, did you see that they left off? Right? And now everyone in the world knows, and that is a big faux pas there, okay? Completely different landscape nowadays than it was back in the day. And when I was on the set, when we shot something, I'd be like, if someone notices that, then we have bigger problems, okay? That was a term on the set. So if someone saw a water bottle or something, and it was like, we're doing a period piece in 1950, and we have a plastic water bottle in the shot, that would have been a big problem. But people are like, well, we're out of time. We can't do another shot. If someone notices that, then we got problems, right? Well, here it is. People notice it nowadays. It's a problem.
Microsoft could just tell them it's sunk in this fictional world.
That's funny. That's funny.
Problem. But after a lengthy discussion, the team decided to pass. They didn't think people would notice, and if they did, Microsoft could just tell them it's sunk in this fictional world.
Which is a great... Just explain it to me. Why isn't it there? You'd be like, well, in this universe, it doesn't exist. It sank into the ocean. And you'd be like, oh, okay. That's sounds good.
There was also that time when all the Microsoft distributors in Turkey were arrested because Encarta 95 had released with a map that included an area for Kurdistan. That one did get fixed. Of course, Microsoft was a good company. They didn't want people getting arrested, and they knew they couldn't expect game developers to be well-versed in geopolitical issues. So,
at 1995,
they started hiring. They hired a group of localizers and created an entire group to help the product teams be sensitive to those issues. You could
back in 1995 to be sensitive to those areas. What happened to Assassin's Creed Shadows? What happened? If Microsoft was doing this back in 1995 to make sure they got the things correct, what happened to Assassin's Creed?
Couldn't have a game developer putting the Microsoft brand at risk. After having those experiences, I'm
As she brings up Assassin's Creed Shadows.
baffled about some of the things I'm seeing today. Did any of the executives at Ubisoft question whether or not doing Assassin's Creed Shadows was a
Probably not, Laura. Probably not.
good idea? I've been to Japan many times. I've worked with Namco as the producer on Revenge of Arcade, and during Xbox, I managed a team there. I love the people and the culture, and based on that experience, I would never have agreed to do this game, because even if you handled it as delicately as possible, it's easy to make a mistake. And I think they have. The game isn't even out, and it's already mired in controversy, and this isn't what you want for your game. Maybe it'll blow over and they'll be able to navigate this. But if not, that was a very expensive
mistake, right? Very expensive. Well, the problem is, Travis, if it's fictional, then why don't they say that? But they didn't say that. They said it was historically accurate, is what they said.
experiment. I had a similar situation when I was in the final months of shipping Crimson Skies. One of the team pitched a game that was like Sonic, but instead of a hedgehog as the main character, they wanted it to be a totem pole. A few of us playfully nicknamed him Tommy. The pitch was great. The game
Sounds simple enough, right? Tommy the totem pole. But I'm sure someone's offended by it. They're like, wait a minute. The totem in our nation is a religious thing or something. You know what I mean? And it could make someone upset.
sounded like it would be a lot of fun, but I said pass. You see, there is symbolic meaning behind totem poles,
There you go.
and even with good intentions and great care, I wasn't convinced we could navigate that complexity. Also,
Right, because you're looking at it as, oh, it's no big deal. But for the broader audience, you might be people that that symbolic symbol might be huge to a certain amount of people, and they'd be like, yeah, no, we're gonna get more shit for this than we would if we put it out there.
So Xbox was just kicking off, and we had more than enough on our plate. We didn't need to take on
Can you imagine if the Xbox looked like that?
more risk. It's funny because I thought everyone was in agreement, but when I went to work on Xbox full time, I found out that the team went ahead and spent thousands of dollars to further investigate the idea
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
and decided it was too risky. I wasn't upset about the differing opinions regarding direction. Good teams disagree all the time, but when the decision is made, they get back to work. Good
Look at
teams
Cliff
disagree
Bleszinski. Look at
all
him.
the time.
Look how young he looks. Right here.
But when the decision is made,
Jesus. This is like 20, 30 years ago.
they get back to work. And if they can't, well, they need to leave the team. We called it disagree, but commit. Of course, not everyone followed the principle, but those were the expectations. In fact, I remember when I was in the final stages of shipping Gears of War, we had one leader that didn't think the game was going to be successful, and he was going around to the team and telling them that we were doomed to fail. There were several problems.
Well, that's not good. If you have a team member who is just not on board, right? Which, if you want to die on that hill, right? He said that Gears of War wouldn't be successful. Now, obviously, hindsight 2020. Okay, we look back at it and going, "Wow, what an idiot! What did you think it wasn't going to be successful?" And it's, what are we on, like 6 now? Okay, but if you don't think something's good, then you have to speak up. But at the same time, working in the film industry, I compare it a lot to the film industry to the video game industry. Okay, if you're on set and you want to do something, if you're a producer, if you're working on something, even as a camera operator, sometimes the director or sometimes the producers don't see something, right? They see it in their head, but then when it's on film, it just doesn't look good, right? And sometimes you need an outsourced person to tell something. And then there's like an argument going on, right? But it's okay because at the end of the day, you agree with it because you're all working on the same team together to make the final product, right? Nobody's trying to sabotage the entire product because you want to put your name on it. You want to make the thing as best as it can be. So I can understand, like, and again, I don't know the whole story. Maybe she goes into it. Maybe he just didn't think because of whatever reasons. It was religious reasons or design reasons or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, if you're being outvoted, if you're being outnumbered by the other people that are all up with the higher ups on the team, then you got to take the L. You got to take the loss. You just got to deal with it.
With this situation. The first is that all of our data showed that Gears was definitely going to do well if we could finish the game at decent quality. Reviewers loved it, external playtesters loved it, the test team loved playing it. All
sounds like everyone loved it.
Signs were good.
And we know it's good because it went on to be very successful.
The second issue was that he was killing morale. At the end of Gears, several of the people...
Yeah, sometimes you have to get rid of those people. Sometimes you have to get rid of the people. They believe so hard they're right, but they start to, almost like a cancer, right? They start to talk to other people. They start to talk to other people to be like, well, did you hear what this person said? This person said this. And then they start to have like pods and groups. And then it starts to just not be fun, right? Because now they're trying to hurt the team.
People on my team left their families and temporarily relocated to North Carolina to help the game ship.
Yeah, it's rough.
It is really difficult to be away from your family
of course it is.
And trying to finish the game and have someone telling you that you're
look how young she looks there.
Doomed to fail. And the last issue is that he was showing poor leadership. When you are leaders on...
It's crazy that they recorded stuff back then. It really is. It's crazy that they recorded just a conference room.
On a team, you go to a room, you hash out your disagreements, and then you try to leave those disagreements in the room. You try to bring a united front out to the team. One day I get a call from Epic because someone on my team is actually there and crying in the hallway. And this is why, because this person is being so divisive. It turns out that he'd had a disagreement with someone on the team at Epic, and he was upset with them. He couldn't let it go. And he wanted me.
Yeah, sometimes, man. Sometimes people are so hell-bent on what their view is that they can't deal with it. I've worked with plenty of people, producers on the film industry, especially people that don't know a lot about stuff. There's people that become producers, executive producers that know nothing about the industry. They just have the money and they want their 2 cents in. And no matter what happens, they're hell-bent. But even though it'll hurt the project overall, they don't care. They want it done their way.
To remove that person from the team. Of course, there are situations where it would have made sense to have that conversation.
Sure.
But wounded feelings this close to ship wasn't one of those.
Right. You got to read the room. Right? Maybe we could have done this if it was early on in production, but not near shipping time.
I also explained a hard truth that management would likely replace everybody on our team before they would replace Epic.
There you go. And that's a gamble, right? So she's probably going, look, we can't do what you want me to do because they'll replace all of us. And if you want me to do what you want us to do, then you're going to hurt all these other people that are on the team. And she's got to make the call. It's you or us.
You see, they were the creators. They were the talent. We were important, but we were there to support them. And that made us more expendable. I was trying to be honest with him and help him see the situation, but it didn't work. He continued with his negativity, but he just hid it better. He also added me to his list of complaints.
But that's even worse. Because he didn't deal with it, right? Because she said he got just quieter about doing it. Meaning he's just like suppressing it in and like making it worse in the longer run because it just means that it's going to start spilling out in other ways. You know what I mean? Wow, that's even worse. You have to get rid of that person. Now, obviously, she's telling a story here, and I don't know if they got rid of it, but looking back at her story now, this person had to go.
It's kind of funny how I found out that he was still mad. I have this weird habit that drives
people. Is this the person that she keeps showing?
People crazy. I tend to fidget when I'm thinking. If I have a pen in my hand, I'll click it. If I have the mouse in my hand, I'll click on the screen. I'll highlight text. I'll unhighlight it. Well, one day I was reading an email from him, clicking away, highlighting random text, and I saw...
Oh, shit. Do you see? Do you see what happened? He's suppressing it so much. That he's writing it in an email or a Word document and putting Laura sucks underneath, like white text on a white background so you can't see it. And just because she happened to be fidgety, she found it.
That there was a
I'm assuming this is a reenactment. There's no way back then she was like, oh yeah, I'm going to record my screen.
paragraph of invisible text at the bottom. It was invisible because it was white text on a white background. Of course, it was mean and it hurt my feelings, but I didn't get mad at him.
What would you do, chat? What would you do, chat? I think I would personally, well, this is me saying it while knowing what it is now. If this happened to me, because stuff like this has happened to me, okay? And the reason I am who I am today is because of people like that person, okay? Where I wouldn't say anything and just let it go. But then I became more blunt. And I wouldn't go ape shit, but I would let them know that I know. So instead of putting me in an awkward position, I would switch it to, I know they did what they did, and I would point it out what they did. But then I would let it go. That's what I would do.
I empathized with him. I know sometimes it's really hard to control your emotions. So instead of grabbing that ball of anger and sending it right back at him, I decided to let it go.
That's big. That's big. When I was younger, I definitely wouldn't have let it go, right? I would get in the face of the person. But as a 46-year-old, right, around like mid-30s, I would confront, but I would flip it like I said. I would confront, but I wouldn't get angry. I would just let them know, like, hey, why are you doing this? You know, like, we're all on the same team. We're all working on the same project. We're all doing the same thing. Like, this is not cool, right? That's the way I would be the last, like, 15 years. In my 20s, I would have went with this fire thing that she's showing. I would have went ape shit.
That said, I didn't drop the issue, which was his destruction of team morale. I just let my personal hurt go and instead focus my energy on supporting the team and the game. I decided...
And that's the way you should do it. Because you're not running a business by yourself. You're running a business with a team.
To show him through my actions a better way to lead. I feel fortunate that social media wasn't a thing then. I would have been
Yeah, social media would have completely put a different spin on it. You would get what you're getting right now with the guy from Oblivion, where he hates Elon Musk and he's letting everyone know and hurting the team because he's selfish.
Devastated if he had taken his feelings publicly, which is what appears to have happened recently at Obsidian. If you haven't heard, the art director of the game Avowed, which is set to ship early next year, decided to post some comments publicly about his game. Yep. Apparently there are pronouns in the game, and Elon Musk reacted on...
Pronouns in the game are just pronouns. You might not like it. You don't have to pay. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to. You could wait. Okay. But what he's done since the pronouns came out that were in the game, he's gone scorched earth. Okay. He's gone and would have done what I would have done at my early 20s, where I would have went ape shit. But there's a difference. There was no social media back then. There was no. So if you were just angry, you just go like scream in a pillow, go outside and scream out in the open space, get your anger out. Now he's letting his anger out on social media. Now he's taking it out personally on Elon Musk. Now he's making it even worse for everybody that works on the team. And think about how selfish you are as the lead, okay? Where you're going to go scorched earth, and everybody else that's working for the job or working for the business or working on that game is now affected by you because you're being selfish.
On X, saying that having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable. To which the art director responded, I wanted so badly to make him mad with my game, and I cannot believe it actually happened. Just wait until you...
Think about that for a second, right? Like, I wanted so bad to make him mad with my game. I cannot believe it actually happened. Like, obviously he's full of shit, right? Because he's not making this game to make Elon Musk angry. But now that he's seen it, he's saying, I wanted to make him mad, but the dream come true. It actually happened. I'll just wait to see if the default you say your little shit. Like, do you see how this guy, Matt Hansen, has to be fired? He has to be let go. He's burning down the castle.
You see the default, you said little shit. I personally find this situation baffling. Does he know Elon personally? Why does he want to make Elon mad with his game? Why would you say that?
It makes no sense. Why?
You said little shit. I personally find this situation baffling. Does he
It is baffling.
know Elon personally? Why does he want to make Elon mad with his game? Why?
Yeah, like it makes no sense in any way, shape, or form why you want to make Elon mad, right? Like, think about this. Like, do you think Elon Musk is going to lose sleep at night? He's the richest man in the planet. Okay, richest man on the planet. Okay, he's in control of multiple billion-dollar companies. And do you think he's going to give a shit about Matt Hansen because he put a he/him pronoun in a video game? Elon's allowed to say what he wants to say, and Hansen's allowed to say what he wants to say. The difference is that Elon is the top, okay? And everybody else he's controlling. Like, this is just his opinion. Hansen's hurting the game company, hurting the game, hurting his fellow employees that are making this game because of his narcissistic approach to Elon Musk's hate.
Would you say this to someone who is easily one of the most controversial people on the planet?
Easily one of the most controversial people.
And therefore has millions of people reading his posts. This interaction may be the one impression that people will ever have of the game Avowed. To be clear, I'm fine if Elon ends up not buying it. That's his choice.
Exactly right. That's everyone's choice.
What I'm not fine with is a leader putting his team and game at risk. And this is where social media comes in. At any point, you can read something, get offended, and with one emotion.
Look, anyone can be offended, but you have to become offended. I can't make you offended. I can say something, and anything I say can offend somebody. You have to take offense. Okay? Nothing happens if you're offended. Nothing. Right? If someone says something that offends you, it only offends you internally. Right? And then you then can choose what you want to do with that. Right? And most of the time, you can just let it go because nobody knows you were offended. Okay? Because nobody knows what you're offended about except you.
Outburst online, you can change your game's momentum. You can ruin years of a team's work. Of course, Avowed is likely going to be review bombed. There are plenty of people.
Probably 100%. I'm going to back up a little bit here.
Where social media comes in. At any point, you can read something, get offended, and with one emotional outburst online, you can change your game's momentum. You can ruin years of a team's work.
Years of team's work, your persona, your brand, everything down because in 30 seconds you're like, you want to go angry on scorched earth on social media.
Of course, Avowed is likely going to be review bombed. There are plenty of people that are more than happy to join in the fight. Avowed is now mired in controversy, and when they launch, they will have to overcome this situation.
Yep.
And that's the tragedy, because it sounds like it might be a great game,
but it's not going to be judged on it anymore. See, it would have been judged on its merits. It would have been judged on what the game was, because even if the he/him pronouns were there, or she, her, or they, them are in the game, when the game comes out, if the game is good, the game is good. Let the game talk. Make a game, sell a game. Don't make a game and then implode the game before the game gets to come out. Let the game do the talking for the game.
It's heartbreaking to think that it may never get a chance. I feel sorry for the team that's working on the game, because having all of this going on while you're trying to final a game, it's not fun.
Right, you're doing all this while, because imagine this, right? You're the worker, and Matt Hansen comes up to you while you're working on the game and is like, hey, we need to work on this, we need to do this. And now he's like, you know what? Let's make the text bigger on the he/him. And the person that's working on it's like, yeah, okay. Right? Because now they know that he knows that the reason he's doing what he's doing is to just be mad at Elon Musk. Just to make a point, right? That's why they're doing what they're doing. To a little weird, right? So as the employee now, working on the game, you're finishing it up and going, every decision that our director makes is in the direction of, let's make sure that Elon Musk hates this game. Do you know what I mean?
So it turns out that not only will I be the one who will know as first which game wins tonight, but I actually also know which game is going to win next year, the year after, and the year after. Right? Now, how do I know this? Well, an oracle told me. She said, change is coming.
If you're wondering why I'm optimistic, it's because I believe in people.
I think she's optimistic because she knows the industry. I think she's optimistic and knows that this is the same shit that's been going on for years. The only difference is that it's the social media that changes the game.
I think that there are only a few people who are causing this divisiveness. It is not the majority.
That's right.
Most people want things to be better, and so they will be. And I believe we will eat that elephant together, one bite at a time.
They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow.
That's right.
They were driven by idealism and wanted players to have fun. And they realized that if the developers didn't have fun, nobody was going to have any fun. They understood the value of respect, that if they treated their developers and players well, those same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned.
That's right. That's called respect the players, respect the developers, and you will get the goodwill. And once you get that goodwill, you can make mistakes. And when you make the mistakes, they'll forgive you because you respected their time. You respected the people that made it. It's a give-take relationship. It's not, we put it out, you have to buy it, and if you don't buy it, you're bigoted.
But above all, they cared about their game because they loved games. And the game of the year is Astrobot.
Like, we look at it, and this is why I don't care who wins, right? We look at it as customers, as, oh, this game shouldn't win or should win or what game. But what you guys don't understand, and maybe some of you do because maybe you work with teams, maybe you're in the industry, maybe you're in the film industry, maybe you're in. When people, no one says anything to you, okay? At least from my perspective, okay? And it's a good video, right? It looks like it's over. Let me see. All right. So go check out Laura's video. So from my perspective, right, when I was a camera operator, even when I was a PA or a grip or whatever, nobody ever said to you, and I'm not looking for pats on the back or anything like that. My point of this is, when I worked on something, nobody ever said to me, hey, Mike, good job. If my director or my producer didn't say anything to me, was the I'm doing good. Okay? Like, if I was focus pulling on the shot and it was perfect, when they said, you know, when they say take one, take two, when you would take two and you're like, one for safety type of thing, you take one take, two takes, maybe three takes. You're on take 11. Someone is getting fired. Okay? And let's go in the hierarchy of the thing. Okay? Take 11, if it's the actor and they can't get fired because they're the actor, okay, then the next person is who's fucking up, okay? Camera department's in there, right? Are they fucking up the shot? Did they root the thing? Did they hit the record button? Something. When somebody doesn't say anything to you, you know that you're okay. When they start speaking to you, that's when you have a problem, okay? And when rewards come and you work on a thing, right? Because I've worked on hundreds of things, okay? I've won awards for, like, the live parades and stuff I did for the Disney parades and stuff. I was part of the team that won awards. I've never won an award myself. But when you make something and you're at a reward show, right, and your whole team took 5 years to make something, that's a big moment. You might not think it's a big moment, but for these people in this fake award show, okay, it's fake to us because we don't give a shit, but to them, it's the world, okay? And that's where I understand where they're coming from when who wins or who doesn't win. It's earth-shattering and stuff like that. But when you have a person like Matt Hansen, speaking like he is about Avowed and putting Avowed on the spotlight, that's not a good thing. Okay? That's not a good thing. When Avowed comes out and Avowed is broke or buggy or unfinished, we will know. Okay? If it comes out and it's working as intended and it has a good story, we'll know. Okay? You'll know, right? We'll know if the game is trash from the DEI perspective if it comes out and it has things like Dragon Age in it. Okay? If it's just a he, him, she, her, they, them type of things, then people will let you know about that. Okay? And that is what it is. Let the game speak for itself. Don't let someone ruin 5 years of your development time because they have a hard-on for someone else because they're narcissistic, right? These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. I really like watching Laura's videos. She is so like Tiger Woods. And what I mean by that is when Tiger Woods is playing golf, he is just super calm, super cool. Like, she seems like such a super laid-back person, but she's also been in the trenches with a lot of people that have a lot of stress, and I can see that she's very, like, she processes it differently. You know who also is like this, that doesn't really get flustered a lot, is Star Wars Theory when he talks about stuff. Very, like, just straight across the board, right? I think it's pretty cool. We're going to watch more of her stuff in the future. Go in the description down below. Check out our channel. She's doing fantastic videos. And I think because she's credible, right? She worked in the field, and she's saying things that other people don't say. So this is why I think her channel is blowing up, because we do care. We do like that type of stuff. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe if you like what else I do. Check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching.